I know the title's a little off-putting, but I'll get you there, okay? Don't worry about it, okay? But it is a little bit about that when we get to the end. Maybe I'll give this line to you. You'll be able to use it when you go back to do what you need to do. We design a lot of buildings. We design a lot of big buildings, large complexes, and sometimes some of the things we put in there just don't seem to rank up to the level of attention that we have to put to them. So I'm going to give you a little preview, okay? Kind of like the movies, you know, like Mission Impossible and I Spy, the title sequence. I lost half of you, I know. They used to be TV shows, okay? You know, Space 1999, right? A little bit about what was ahead that you're going to see in the episode. We're going to talk a little bit about, hopefully show you a little bit about how we design large buildings, large complex buildings, and maybe, just maybe, we're spending a little too much time with some of the things that at the end of the day, they just really don't matter, okay? And I might not really have to care about them too terribly much. So 2008, that's 10 years ago, okay? Think about what you were doing 10 years ago, what's happened in your life, the changes that have happened around in your life or whatever, okay? You got that in your head, okay? How many births? Okay, I had 3 kids graduate from college in the past 10 years. Hooray! The last one just got out of here, so he's all done. That's terrific, okay? We had some family losses. We had some family gains, nieces, nephews, things like that, okay? 10 years, right? These are some things you might not have been doing 10 years ago, right? You might not have been ride sharing. Your smartphone, your iPhone was a year old, okay, 10 years ago, all right? So just the iPhone 1, imagine that, right? You can't even use that today, okay? These are some of the other things you may not have been doing 10 years ago. Yet, at the same time, I would say, this is a little anecdotal, but you guys can maybe confess this a little bit, and large, complex hospital projects, okay, take about 10 years probably on average to get done. From the very first conversation, if you were lucky enough to be there, the very first conversation that said, I need to replace that hospital, I need to add that patient tower, I need to do this, that, or the other, to the time that it got finished, 10 years might have passed, okay? So again, go back to what were you doing 10 years ago? What are the things you weren't doing 10 years ago? And you had a large, complex hospital project that somebody gave you millions of dollars to do or whatever to get done, and it took about 10 years to get done, and it had to be perfect, absolutely perfect. So here's the contention, here's the hypothesis. When an organization has decided to undertake change of any sort, okay, that includes a monumental capital project, it has decided, okay, it has chosen the lengthiest, most costly way to do it, all right? So all the transformation changes, all the operational changes, all those other things, whatever, but we need a new tower to do it, we need a new campus to do it, or whatever. That is the longest part of that whole effort. So, as Michael told you, my previous experience to moving to Cleveland 4 years ago was managing and running the Parkland Hospital project, okay? $1.3 billion, 862-bed replacement hospital for the Dallas County Hospital System. That project just was construction completed in 2014. Its initial oldest record of conversation about that was 1998. Okay? 2008 was the year that it actually got the bond money to do the project. So it took 10 years just to get the money for it. Okay? From 2008 to 2014, which is when the construction was completed, and in May or June of 2015, I think, is when they moved into the project, is the time that it took to do that project. Okay, $1.3 billion, over 2 million square feet, LEED Gold building, 862 beds, fantastic, very successful project. But here's the thing, okay? We were very proud that we probably had over 700 touch points of input from the staff of the hospital in order to develop the programming and design for that facility. By the time that project was done, okay, we were using staff like this, okay? You know her, okay? You know her, okay? She's that physician, she's that nurse, she's that clinician, she's that nurse manager, whatever. Her lifetime, her career has been at that facility, okay? She's highly respected. That's why she's on the team. That's why she's helping you inform and giving you the inputs for this or whatever. She's acknowledged, recognized, incentivized. She's been rewarded and awarded, okay? And you come in as the designer and you're gonna tell her, guess what we're gonna do? We are gonna design you a facility that is gonna help you do your job better. How many think that she believes you? You're dead on arrival, okay? How can you tell her, him and the team or whatever, that the environment that you're gonna create is actually gonna help them do their job better when they've been this respected, when they've been this invested in the organization so far? But that's what we do. That's what we do all the time. Here's what happened. By the time that project was finished, okay, we estimated about over half the stakeholders, and that's probably a conservative number, okay, did not see the project through completion, okay? I can tell you that included our directors and our senior executive staff. I can tell you that included, in this particular case, the entire C-suite of the organization did not see this project through from the beginning. Half the board was lost during the course of the design and construction of this project. So, where to get all that input from? Okay? Essentially, I was informed by ghosts when this project was done. We had our vision statement. You know, every project starts out with this. Ours was similar. And on one of the last meetings that I had at the completion of the project before I moved to Cleveland, the second interim CEO looked at this vision statement and said, but the building doesn't do that. All right, so there's 11 years of my time. I started in 2003, finished in 2014. 11 years of my time, 700 points of input, half of which disappeared, including the C-suite, half the board or whatever. A wonderful vision statement, and by the end of the job, being told that everything that you did, okay, probably this had nothing to do with it. However, we have a very successful project. We have a very successful building. It's working great, okay? You may have heard that at least in one situation, our labor and delivery department, for example, I know from other presentations that have been given elsewhere, they had a 10% increase in volume the first year after it opened. Wouldn't that be marvelous, right? Isn't that what you're looking for? New environment, better, more business, okay? That's success. So why did I need to talk to all those people? Why did I need to involve myself with all that? Okay? It seems to me it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all, a lot of it, okay? So I know you can't ask questions, I can. I love this part, okay? So we don't have a poll here, but really, you have these large meetings, 30 people at a time. You're telling them you're gonna go through this process, maybe 3 meetings or whatever to get every bit of input or whatever. Tell me, or suggest to me, do you think 100% of the input that you got from the staff that you interviewed during the design and the programming process, whatever, 100% you actually incorporated into the project? Anybody? Maybe, okay, 80% of the input was used in the project. 50% of the input? Okay. Less than 25% of the input that you got, maybe. Okay, right. I've talked to a lot of people over this period of time, and they usually hover around, about 10% of the input maybe was what I had to glean from the staff. So again, how much of that really mattered? So, and then there's this piece, planning for the future. Okay, there's no 21st century city that looks like this that we thought was, you know, maybe somebody thought in 1942 would look like. And at the same time, what the 22nd century was looked at, we're well ahead of. We've got phones that do better than what Spock and Kirk had, okay? So how do you allow for this kind of change? You can't predict it. It's hard to tell. The people that you're getting input from disappear by the time you get there. So I propose, and one of the things I'm trying to do now in Cleveland with MetroHealth is to create a neutral environment, okay? Something where it doesn't matter what the operation is going to be, doesn't matter what the technology is going to be, it's open source, if you will. It needs to provide the ability, okay, for all of these sorts of things to be able to happen, okay? And so think of it as a warehouse, okay? An open building that you can put anything in any way you want to at any time, take it in, take it out, move it around, but the basic structure doesn't need to change, okay? Maybe to a department store, we can move those displays around, do whatever we want, but the basic structure doesn't need to change, okay? Spec office building, same thing, okay? Convention center, hotel event space, right? Okay, the space that we're in. We can eat in here, we can play in here, we can do tailgate parties in here, we can do whatever we want in a space like this. The basic structure doesn't need to change. How about creating a hospital that works like that? Because half of those inputs that are going to disappear by the time it's finished, and the ones that are going to inherit it, nobody's going to ask about the facility. I asked our HR department, I said, we, on average, over the past 4 years, we've added about 100 people per month into the organization. Okay, that's how many come in. Now there's about 70 a month that go out, so of course we didn't grow by 5,000 people over the past 4 months. But I had nearly, over the past 48 months, nearly 5,000 new people join the organization in the past 4 years. I got 4 years to go before patient 1 shows up in our new building, which means that at our current pace, I'm going to have nearly the entire complement of the total occupancy of the main campus of the hospital replaced in the organization in that time. I can't keep changing the design because I keep changing where that input is coming from. So I need a facility that's going to be stable enough to accommodate that. I want to separate the operation from the experience. I want to focus on what matters. I want to look at elements that are standardized, okay, that are fixed, that are flexible, that are movable, that are adaptable, all of those things. So yes, acuity adaptable, standardized type rooms that can serve more than one function, allows for a lot of prefabrication so I can get to market quicker, okay? And because the faster we get there, the sooner they can start operating. I've told the team, I want a facility that's more assembled than constructed, okay? Let me bring the parts and pieces together instead of having to build them on site, okay? I want the technology. I don't have to worry about the technology. All I need to really do for technology, I need to run a wire from over there to over there, okay? And what's on that end, on the receiving end, and what's on the supply end, okay? It don't matter. It doesn't matter to me, okay? Put whatever server, whatever box you want in the trays over there, put whatever monitor you want on the end over here, and run whatever you want across the wire or across the wireless at your will. Because guess what? The thing I picked today is something that's going to change tomorrow. So we're changing from operations to experience-based because the one thing that is probably the most consistent, okay, is the patient experience. The most stable driver might be the patient experience. They still want the same thing. 10 years ago, they probably still want the same thing as they want. They want respect, they want confidentiality, they want security, all right? They want comfort, they want a space that they can recuperate in. They want quiet, okay? We kind of know what the definition of patient experience is. We've learned that quite a bit. We have evidence-based research that says how you can support it. And we now actually have a standard, okay, that we can use to help make it even a better environment for our patients and for our visitors. Okay, and I'm going to make Whitney extremely happy by being a well-certified hospital. We want to focus on the patient experience is what we're trying to do, and let everything else, from the logistics to the personnel factors, if you will, to feed into that. If I focus on the experience, that's fairly constant. So we're reaching out to our community, much like Kaiser just did. We have our patient and family advisory committee. We are sourcing them as the primary driver because our patients are probably the thing that is most the same. Their experience that they have and they want to have is most the same. So far, here's where we are. We're a work in motion. I'll come back to you in about 4 years. I'll tell you how well we did, okay? So we have our charter, and guess what? It has that right into it. The MetroHealth Campus transformation will create an environment, okay, that addresses MetroHealth's mission of leading the way to a healthier you and a healthier future by promoting community engagement, number one, patient experience, okay, and excellence in clinical care, research, and education, resulting in improved health and wellness. That's our goal. That's our mission. I'll bet that won't be obsolete in 4 years. We're focusing on the patient journey, okay? We've mapped it out. We know what our patients are looking for. So we've started at the master plan level by creating a hospital in a park, large open space. We're recognizing ourselves as an anchor institution in the community on the west side of Cleveland. It has no green space on that side of town, okay? We have 52 acres that we own. Half of that's going to be converted into open green space. About 6 acres that you see is going to be converted to a community park, so we can invite the neighborhood in. So we are a hospital in a park, okay? We can add to the wellness, if you will, the value of the community. We're going to separate the traffic on stage and off stage using those components or whatever as part of the park, as part of that arrival sequence. We know from the patient experience, right? We all know this, right? The number one concern of patients is how to get to where I need to get to. So we're going to start that right up front. We decided to design the hospital as a park. It also has its own scenic views, its beacons, its information centers, or whatever. We're using the same philosophy as the exterior on the interior of the design. And we want to make sure that the interior is visible and straightforward. Our typical floor is repeatable. We can make any room, anything at any time. We want to use demountable partitions. We want to be able to take them apart and put them back together. We might even put some of it on access floor if we can. We have a standard patient room that we can turn into an ICU room. If we want to, we can surge up if we need to in an emergency. And we have a resource center for families for discharge or for other purposes during the course of their stay at the hospital, whatever, to keep them comfortable and to keep them informed, the things that they want the most. So that's where we are right now, okay? So the idea is that it's a process-neutral design. I don't have to worry about your operations. Doesn't matter. Don't care. I've got an environment that can support just about anything that you want to do, okay? I don't have to worry about the technology that you want to run across because I'm going to put the infrastructure in and the wires in, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't have to have that conversation, right? I can be very, very, very direct, very, very tactical about what it is that I want to use. So for the last few seconds that I have, let me just show you a little bit since we started with the movies and the preview. Let me give you our trailer and our theme song. Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Mark.